Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to Study with Pröf Düdü. Today, we are going to take a deep dive into the world of algebraic expressions. Our mission? To completely master factorization. Now, that might sound complicated, but it's really just a powerful tool that helps us turn big, messy problems into simple, easy-to-solve pieces. So, let's get right into it.
You know, I get it. Sometimes you look at an algebra problem and it just seems like a secret code, right? A jumble of letters and numbers that don't make much sense. But I want you to start thinking about it a different way. Think of it like a puzzle. And today, I'm going to hand you the key to solve that puzzle. That key is called factorization. And I promise, by the end of our time here, you'll be using it like a pro.
So, here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the absolute basics, the building blocks of algebra. Then we'll get our hands dirty with simplifying and expanding expressions. After that, we unlock the main event, factorization, starting with the basics and working our way up to those trickier quadratic ones. And to finish, we'll see how to put all these skills together to solve some pretty cool problems. You ready? Let's go.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Algebra's Building Blocks. Seriously, think of this part like learning the alphabet before you try to write a story. Once you know the basic vocabulary and the rules, everything else becomes so much easier. So what exactly is an algebraic expression? Well, at its heart, it's just a mathematical phrase with a few key ingredients. First, you've got your variables, like the x and y you see here. They're basically just placeholders for numbers we don't know yet. Then you have constants, like the number 4, which is, well, it's constant. Its value is always 4. And all of this is glued together by the operations we already know and love, plus, minus, times, and divide. Let's zoom in on those parts. Each chunk of the expression that's separated by a plus or a minus sign, we call that a term. So in this example, 5x squared is a term, 2y is a term, and so is the number 4. Now, the number that's right in front of a variable, we call that the coefficient. So here, 5 is the coefficient of x squared. And like we said, any number that's all by itself is a constant. These definitions are the absolute foundation for everything we're about to do, so if you need to, just hit pause and jot them down.
Okay, this next idea is absolutely crucial. You will use this concept forever in algebra. It's the difference between like terms and unlike terms. Like terms have the exact same variable part, and that means the same letter raised to the same power. It's kind of like this. You can add 3 apples and 7 apples, and you get 10 apples. Simple. So 3x squared and 7x squared are like terms. But you can't really combine 3x squared and an a squared. That's like trying to add 3 apples and 2 oranges. You can't say you have 5 apple oranges, right? You just have a pile of apples and a pile of oranges. Same idea here.
Okay, now that we've got the vocabulary down, let's move into Section 2. This is where we stop just looking at the parts and start actually doing something with them. We're going to learn the 2 most fundamental skills you need for manipulating expressions, simplifying and expanding. Let's start with simplifying. The goal here is just to tidy things up. We want to make the expression as clean and short as possible by combining those like terms we just talked about. So, in our example, x plus 2y plus 5x minus y, the first thing I do is hunt for the like terms. I see an x and a plus 5x. They're a family. And I see a plus 2y and a minus y. They're another family. So let's group them. X plus 5x gives us 6x, and 2y minus y just leaves us with y. So our final, much tidier expression is 6x plus y. That's it. Now let's look at the opposite skill, expanding. This is all about getting rid of brackets. So to expand 2x plus 3 times x minus 4, we use something called the distributive property. It just means we have to multiply everything in the second bracket by each term in the first bracket. So first we do 2x times x minus 4. Then we do plus 3 times x minus 4. Let's multiply it out. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times negative 4 is negative 8x. Now for the second part. 3 times x is plus 3x, and 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. Now we just write that all out in a line. We've got 2x squared minus 8x plus 3x minus 12. And what do we do now? We simplify. We combine the like terms in the middle. Negative 8x plus 3x gives us negative 5x. So our final expanded answer is 2x squared minus 5x minus 12. And a huge tip here, be so careful with your plus and minus signs. That's where most mistakes happen.
Hey, just a super quick pause. If you're finding this lesson useful and things are starting to click, do me a huge favor and hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help the channel reach more students. Okay, let's get back to it.
All right, let's get into the main topic for today, Section 3, an introduction to factorization. Now this is where it gets really cool.
We just learned how to expand, how to multiply things out to get a long expression. Well, factorization is the exact opposite. It's like being a detective. You're given the final result, and your job is to work backwards to figure out what was originally multiplied together to make it.
This slide shows that relationship perfectly. It's like going forwards and then hitting rewind. On the left, when we expand 3 times x plus 2, we get 3x plus 6. On the right, we do the reverse. We start with 3x plus 6, and we ask ourselves, what's the biggest thing that goes into both 3x and 6? Well, that's 3. So we pull that 3 out to the front of a bracket, and then we figure out what's left inside. It's x plus 2. See? They're just mirror images of each other.
So there are 2 basic methods to get us started. The first and most important one is looking for a common factor. This should always be the first thing you check. You just find the highest common factor of all the terms and pull it out to the front. In the example 4x plus 4by, the common factor is obviously 4, so it becomes 4x plus by. The second method is called grouping. This is what we use for longer expressions, usually with 4 terms, when there isn't one single factor that's common to all of them. You split the expression into 2 pairs, you factor each pair, and then, like magic, you'll see a common bracket that you can factor out again.
Let's move on to Section 4, Advanced Techniques. Okay, once you're comfortable with the basics, you can start using some really powerful shortcuts. These are special patterns or identities that let you factor certain expressions in like 2 seconds flat.
This next one is probably one of the most useful patterns in all of algebra. Seriously, it's a game changer. It's called the difference of 2 squares. The rule is super simple. If you see something squared minus another thing squared, it will always factor into 2 brackets, one with a plus and one with a minus. Memorizing this pattern will save you so much time.
Let's put it into practice. We have x squared minus 49. The first thing you should ask yourself is, does this fit the pattern? Let's check. Is x squared a perfect square? Yep. Is 49 a perfect square? Yep. It's 7 square. And is there a minus sign between them? Yes. So bingo, it's a difference of 2 squares. In our formula, the a is x and the b is 7. We just plug those into the pattern, a plus b, a minus b, and that gives us x plus 7, x minus 7. Done. It's that fast once you learn to spot.
And now for the main event, Section 5, Mastering Quadratic Factorization. Everybody take a deep breath. I really can't overstate how important this skill is. Being able to do this is the key that unlocks thousands of problems, not just in this class, but in all the math that lies ahead of you. So let's really focus here. We're going to learn a super reliable step-by-step method called splitting the middle term. Now, don't let all these steps on the slide intimidate you. I promise it's just like following a recipe. After you do it a few times, it'll become second nature. The whole magic of it happens in step 3. Finding 2 special numbers that multiply to a certain value and add to another. Once you've found those numbers, the rest is easy. You just rewrite the expression and use that grouping method we talked about earlier. Let's see it in action.
Okay, let's walk through this one together, nice and slow. We need to factor x squared plus 7x plus 10. Step 1, our a is 1, our b is 7, and our c is 10. Step 2, we find the product AC. That's 1 times 10, which is just 10. Now for step 3, the big one. We need 2 numbers that multiply to give us 10 and add up to give us b, which is 7. So let's think. What numbers multiply to 10? We've got 1 and 10. Do they add to 7? Nope. How about 2 and 5? Do they add to 7? Yes, they do. Those are our magic numbers. So for step 4, we rewrite that middle term, 7x, using our numbers. It becomes 2x plus 5x. So now our expression looks like this. X squared plus 2x plus 5x plus 10. And for the final step, we factor by grouping. Look at the first 2 terms, x squared plus 2x. What's common? An x. That leaves us with x times x plus 2. Now the last 2 terms, 5x plus 10. What's common? A 5. That leaves us with 5 times x plus 2. And look at that. We have a common bracket. We pull out the x plus 2 and we see what's left over, x plus 5. So our final answer is x plus 2 times x plus 5.
Let's try one that looks a little harder. 3x squared plus 7x plus 4. This one seems scarier because the a isn't 1, but guess what? The recipe works exactly the same. So a is 3, b is 7, c is 4. The product AC is 3 times 4, which is 12. Now we need 2 numbers that multiply to 12 and add up to 7. Let's list the factors of 12. 1 and 12, no. 2 and 6, no. 3 and 4, yes! 3 plus 4 is 7. Perfect. So we split the 7x into 3x plus 4x. Our expression becomes 3x squared plus 3x plus 4x plus 4. Time to group.
In the first pair, 3x squared plus 3x, the common factor is 3x, which leaves 3x, x plus 1. In the second pair, 4x plus 4, the common factor is 4, which leaves 4, x plus 1. And there it is again, our beautiful common bracket, x plus 1. We factor that out, and what's left is 3x plus 4. So our final answer is 3x plus 4, x plus 1. The method just works.
Okay, we've made it to our final section, putting it all together. You might be sitting there thinking, okay, Pröf, this is all very interesting, but why? Why are we learning how to do this? And that is a great question. Factorization isn't just a random trick for your math class. It's an incredibly useful tool for solving actual problems much more easily.
Check this out. Here's a perfect example. Someone asks you to figure out 21 squared minus 11 squared without a calculator. Now, you could try to figure out what 21 squared is and what 11 squared is and then subtract, but that's a lot of work. But wait a second. What does that look like to you? It's a number squared minus another number squared. It's a difference of two squares. So we can instantly rewrite it as 21 minus 11 times 21 plus 11. Well, 21 minus 11 is just 10, and 21 plus 11 is 32. And what's 10 times 32? It's 320. Just like that, we turned a really hard calculation into simple mental math, all because we knew how to factorize.
So, let's do a quick recap of the amazing tools we've added to your factorization toolkit today. First and foremost, the golden rule. Always look for a common factor first. It can save you so much work. If you see an expression with 4 terms, your brain should immediately think about grouping. If you spot a square minus a square, you know to use that awesome difference of two squares shortcut. And for any of those 3-term quadratics, you now have that reliable splitting the middle term recipe.
You all have done an absolutely amazing job today. We've gone from the basic building blocks of algebra all the way to cracking the code on complex problems. You now have the key. So my question to you is, what algebraic puzzles are you going to go out and unlock next? Thank you so much for studying with me today. If you have any questions at all, please ask them in the comments below. And if this was helpful, I'd be so grateful if you'd like and subscribe for more lessons. Until next time, keep learning.